Hello and welcome back. This is part 2 of my ongoing video series discussing what is known so far in terms of new NHL uniforms for the 2020-21 season. So for my last video, I want to apologize for the fact that I did say that my plan was to cover 16 of the NHL's 31, soon to be 32 franchises. However, due to time constraints and the fact that there was a lot of additional things that I felt were necessary to discuss in the last video, I managed to only get down to covering the Colorado Avalanche. So for this video today, time permitting, of course, I'm going to do my best to cover at least 10 to 12 teams. If I'm doing well on time, I may even try and get more around 16 teams done and at least cover all of them to the best of my ability. Now, I'm going to also say one more thing here before I get going on part 2 here. Truth is, I am considering, under the circumstances of what I needed to discuss in my last video, truth is I'm considering potentially adding an additional video to this series and extending it to possibly 4, maybe even 5 videos. It's probably only going to need 4 videos at the max, but we'll see how I do in this video, and that'll give us more of an idea in terms of how many more videos I'm going to need in order to complete this video series. However, although I do apologize for the fact that my last video was 41 minutes in length, which I know is quite long for a video in the world of YouTube, the thing is that I feel it's important to make sure that I cover everything to the best of my own ability. So I want to make sure that when I do these videos, guys, I do them right. And if that means doing a longer video and have less people see it, then I'd rather that be the case than do a shorter video where it doesn't cover things the way that I feel they should be covered. So I apologize if that video was too long for people, and if this video alongside the rest of my videos in this series are longer than you would prefer, but I want to make sure that I do these videos to the best of my ability. So I apologize for that inconvenience if people are not a fan of that. I can appreciate that. But I want to make sure that when I do these videos, I do them to the best of my ability and cover everything to the best with the best amount of information that I can hopefully provide. Because what I do is I see the teams and what they do, and I try. And right now, since unfortunately things have changed with Adidas, and now their catalog is now a digital catalog, they can do a much better job of controlling how many people actually get to see the catalog. So now, because of that, sources for information like Aesthetics are unfortunately hooped, because it's going to be harder for people to get that information that are willing to share it with the world, which is a bummer. But if you're a company like Adidas, and you're an apparel company such as them, or Nike or Reebok or whoever, if you're on their side, they don't really want everybody knowing everything about what they are doing with individual franchises. So I can understand that side of it, but I will be honest, I do think it stinks that the catalogs are harder to reach for places like sportslogos.net, UniWatch, and Aesthetics. That's a bummer. But hopefully they will get more news as time goes on, and hopefully this isn't going to have a major impact on the rollout of NHL news like we've had throughout basically the entirety of the Reebok Edge era. So we'll see how that goes as time goes on, but I must admit that stinks, because it makes it harder to figure out who's doing what for us sports jersey fanatics who really love talking about them. And anyway, unfortunately, because of this change to a digital catalog rather than a paper catalog, it does reduce the amount of news that gets out, and that's a bummer, but I will do the best I can. So anyways, I don't want to spend too much more time on that, because there is a lot, and I mean a lot, to cover. And for anybody curious, at the end of the series, I will be discussing a little bit to do with Seattle, who are thankfully joining the NHL, I believe in the 2021-22 season. So anyways, I'm going to do a little bit of a quick recap. With the Ducks, I did say in my last video that I'm pretty sure I would not be shocked if they switched to their orange jersey full-time with a matching away, even though it's not my favorite design, and I do agree with those of you who say that the Ducks could do a better jersey than that. I do agree. But if they do go full-time with that, at least it'll be an upgrade over what they've been wearing. Now, as for the Coyotes, thanks to people that I've spoken to, such as Windy City Hockey, the Coyotes have been supposedly using their throwback logo quite a bit within their advertising, and especially for their TV graphics and their post-game graphics. And the thing is that as far as I'm concerned with how popular this jersey has been and how well received it's been since it's been brought back in recent years, truth is, folks, I would actually not be surprised if the Coyotes switched back to this on a full-time basis with the matching white jersey that was worn alongside this jersey when they first relocated from Winnipeg in the mid-1990s. Now, with this new fourth jersey program, at the bare minimum, I do believe that the Coyotes will bring back the white throwback jersey to wear alongside this, at least at the minimum as a fourth jersey, but I'm going to go out on a limb today and predict that it becomes their full-time look, this look you see here. As for Boston, they are bringing out another jersey as part of the fourth jersey program. This has been confirmed by Aesthetics. I'm hoping it's the Winter Classic sweater they wore last year because, in my opinion, it's a thing of beauty, and it's far too good for them not to bring back at least for 2 or 3 games a season for the next 2 or 3 seasons coming up. It should be brought back as far as I'm concerned. Now, as for Buffalo, they are going back to royal blue full-time, whether it's the black, red, silver era uniforms or something more along the lines of their 2018 Winter Classic sweaters. That's still yet to be determined, but their 50th anniversary uniforms will be supposedly kept around for at least 1 more year, which I think is great. I respect the Sabres a great deal for doing that. I think that's really nice. As for the Flames, according to Aesthetics, they are keeping their home and away uniforms, which to me is a joke. Both their throwback uniforms are so damn gorgeous, and they're actually going to keep these instead of going to those full-time. As far as I'm concerned, in my opinion at least, that's a joke. I mean, at least if the Flames do the fourth jersey program, they will likely bring back the Heritage Classic 80s throwback they wore this year for the outdoor game, but I don't think they should be kept at all. Those jerseys need to be retired. I am sick of the Black Sea Flames uniforms, I mean. The throwbacks, the 80s uniforms, in my opinion, are absolutely beautiful. Both the white one and the red one they've been wearing as a third jersey for years now. In fact, they even wore that as their main designated home uniform last season in the playoffs. So, I mean, I can't believe that they're not going to go full-time retro, at least from what I've seen so far. I mean, I hope that the Flames change their mind and Aesthetics is wrong, but I'm really hoping that's the case, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's not. And I think that's a shame because those throwbacks, in my opinion at least, are beautiful. So Carolina's obviously getting a new Stadium Series uniform because they're hosting it next season, which is great. They deserve a chance to play outdoors alongside the rest of the NHL. As for anything else, they're not changing anything. Chicago, I discussed them in my last video. And for Colorado, I can't see them making a change. For a fourth jersey, I don't know what they would do, but I would not be surprised if they don't take part. But I could be wrong. So let's get into the teams that I haven't covered yet. So Columbus is one of them, obviously. Truth is, until we find out who has been announced for the Stadium Series opponent for the Carolina Hurricanes, it could be anybody. Although I am hoping for Tampa Bay, so it could be a battle of the weather conditions, which I think could be the basis of some really cool Stadium Series uniforms if Adidas decides to start making nice Stadium Series uniforms rather than some of these train wrecks they've done in the past couple of seasons. I mean, the Flyers one, I think, is the worst NHL jersey I've ever seen in uniform. It was just hideous. Then, I mean, I know some people like it, and if you do, I mean, I respect your opinion, but I thought Colorado's Stadium Series uniform and the Kings Stadium Series uniform this season were horrible. They were absolutely god-awful. And, I understand the Stadium Series is meant to be a platform for teams to try new ideas and do futuristic designs, but in my opinion, I believe you can actually do that while creating great uniforms that can be kept long-term as third jerseys, or even now with this new program as a fourth jersey of some sort. So anyways, I think that would be really cool if Tampa and Carolina played in that Stadium Series game next season. But I actually would not be surprised if Columbus gets a chance to play outdoors too. And I'm open for that because I think it's time for every NHL team to have an opportunity to participate in the outdoor games. I don't think it's fair that some teams, Chicago, and Pittsburgh, among other teams, have had the opportunity to play in multiple games while we still have a lot of teams that have never played in an outdoor game before. So that is something that I'm hoping in the coming years more every NHL team will get that opportunity. Now, as for Columbus, I would not be surprised, to be quite honest, if they either A, leave their uniforms alone, which I think they will, but with this fourth jersey program, I'll talk more about it in a different video, but part of me wonders if Columbus may attempt a reverse version of their third jersey. I think it would be great, to be honest, if they did. Now, moving on to the Dallas Stars. So, with the Stars, so far, since their mega rebrand, when they finally got rid of those god-awful collegiate uniforms with the stupid word mark on the front of them, the plainest, dullest uniforms, some of the absolute lamest uniforms that I've seen in my entire life as a hockey fan. Those Dallas Stars uniforms of the late 2000s, early 2010s were just pathetic. They didn't even bring in a third jersey that was green at the time to help ease the pain of having a pair of boring as hell word marked jerseys. And the away jersey they had at the time when they first transitioned to the Reebok Edge uniforms, it still had their logo on it. But then they retired it to have the white jersey just have the same word mark as the home jersey. It was ridiculous. But so far, ever since the Dallas Stars have thankfully thrown those uniforms in a dumpster fire, which I hope they're never brought back again, the Stars have yet to do an actual formal alternate jersey of any kind. Now, I do agree with people that a black third jersey for the Stars, I think, could actually be good. I mean, could they take advantage of this fourth jersey program, which I hear is supposedly a chance for teams to do inverted jerseys and different color versions of existing designs? I mean, if the Stars did a black version of their home jersey, I don't think that would be a bad look. But after seeing the Stars wear this sweater and uniform for the 2020 Winter Classic a few months ago, the Stars have to bring this back. It was such a beautiful, beautiful uniform. And I feel that the Dallas Stars did such an outstanding job of paying homage to the hockey history of Dallas. And what a wonderful homage to the Dallas Texans, and what a great design. I understand that there's no A where it should say Stars, Stars, but that's not a deal breaker for me. And honestly, this uniform is far too good for them not to bring back as far as I'm concerned. I do believe that we will at least see it for a few games next season as a heritage uniform of some sort. Now, would I want to see this as a full-time third jersey? Personally, I wouldn't be against it, but I think what'll probably happen, and I could be wrong too, but I would be shocked if the Stars did not at least bring this back as a heritage uniform like what the Chicago Blackhawks have done this season, wearing their absolutely gorgeous, well, obviously beauty is in the eyes of the beholder and it's a matter of personal taste, but the Chicago Blackhawks brought their Winter Classic sweater from 2019 back for 4 games this season. So, I mean, it would be exceptionally disappointing if the Dallas Stars did not follow suit. So I'm predicting that the Stars at least bring this uniform back. Now, as for their main jerseys, I cannot stand their logo. I've never liked it since the day it was unveiled. I also hate the roundel shoulder patch that they have on both jerseys. And I'm not a total lover of the victory green, even though I would prefer Kelly. But as I say that, though, with how much white was on this jersey, it made the victory green look so damn good. So for the Dallas Stars, I'd like to see them tweak their uniforms a little bit, but I don't think they're changing anything. But I do think that they will likely bring this jersey back, and so they should. It's beautiful as far as I'm concerned. Now, as for the Red Wings, thankfully, their plans for an ultra-modern third jersey, at least from the rumors that or hearsay that I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not. It could be, it's, as far as I'm concerned, what I mentioned in my last video about the Red Wings was nothing more than rumors. So they could be true, they could be false, but I do suggest that you take it with a grain of salt until something official actually does come along. But with the Red Wings, supposedly the third jersey prototypes were just not good. And you know what? If there was a black prototype or two being kicked around, thank goodness the Red Wings said no. But thanks to aesthetics, we do know that the Red Wings are bringing out a new jersey of some sort next season. And either it's going to be a perfect white flip of their red home uniform, and hopefully if it is, that doesn't include white pants with a red stripe on the side. Hopefully they leave the pants alone. But I'm hoping that instead of doing a perfect flip of their home uniform, I'm hoping that it's a true 50s to early 60s era throwback. And I know I've said this in the past year or so, but I've been hoping to see a Red Wings white throwback sweater, a white 50s throwback for some time. I mean, I think it would be a great tribute to some recent Red Wings legends that have sadly passed away in recent years, such as Gordie Howe and Ted Lindsay. I think it's a great time for the Red Wings to do it. I would prefer if the Red Wings brought it out for an outdoor game, but I'm not against the Red Wings bringing that throwback out for some games next season. I think that would be really great if they did. But that's what they're likely bringing back, and I hope it's that instead of a perfect red or white reverse of their home uniform. But either way, I'm just glad that these rumors of a potential black jersey or a black heavy red uniform are not actually going to come into fruition, and hopefully they never do. Now, as for the Oilers, thanks to aesthetics, we've also learned that they are supposedly planning some type of inverted jersey, and supposedly it's probably going to be white with an orange shoulder yoke, but whether it's going to be a WHA throwback or not, I don't think it will be, but time will tell. But in my opinion, if the Oilers are going to do a white fourth jersey next season, I think it should be a proper white WHA throwback uniform, not something new based off of their current uniforms. I don't think they should do that. I think it would be a mistake. So who knows what the Oilers come up with, but if aesthetics is saying that it's probably going to be a white inverted version of their away uniform or something along those lines, take his word for it, because aesthetics, as far as I'm concerned, is the greatest source for hockey jersey news going. So if it's coming from aesthetics, it's probably true. And you know what? I would prefer if the Oilers just brought back their royal blue throwbacks. They should be wearing those again. I'm sorry, I've ranted on this a zillion times if you've watched my channel for a while, but the royal blue uniforms are my favorite Oilers jerseys, and I really think it's a shame that they're going to take advantage of this fourth jersey program to bring out a new white inverted uniform, if that's the case. I mean, do I think for 2 or 3 games a season for 2 or 3 seasons is is the end of the world? No, but, you know, I still think that the fact that the Oilers are wearing orange and navy blue is ridiculous. And even this year with their new third jersey, I'm sorry, folks, I don't like it. You know, I think it's a shame because all in all, I felt that the royal blue 80s era uniforms that they actually went back to about a decade ago now are the best uniforms the Oilers have had and some of my absolute favorite NHL uniforms. So seeing them get rid of those for orange and navy blue, a brighter orange in fact, I think is a shame. So hearing about this new fourth jersey being an inverted jersey that's white, I'm sorry, unless it's a WHA throwback, I'm not a fan of the idea. But anyway, moving on to Florida, they were supposed to have a third jersey this past season according to the Adidas catalog. That never happened. Truth is, I would not be surprised if we eventually see a red 1990s Florida Panthers throwback uniform at some point. I've just never been able to get behind their current redesign. I'm not a fan of their new logo at all. I know a lot of people I've talked to, including Panther fans, have agreed with me on that, but I think that the Panthers are probably going to do a throwback. Now, whether they do anything new or not for this coming season is TBD, to be determined, but I actually don't see the Panthers doing anything, and I don't think they will get a third jersey, but if they do add a jersey, I would predict that it's going to be a 90s throwback because that seems to be the in thing right now. Now, as for the Los Angeles Kings, now I can confirm that they are at least updating the logo on their home and away jerseys. The Los Angeles Kings have confirmed this. I believe their chief marketing officer or someone, he was interviewed by Aesthetics, and he did say that they are updating the crests on their jerseys for next season. So what they did do, for anybody wondering, is that the Los Angeles Kings, you know what? For the purpose of this video, you guys, bear with me for a moment, and I'm going to actually pull up a proper photo because, let's see here. I'm going to just put my camera down for a sec. I want to give you guys a proper look at it, and I'll try my best to be quick. So with the Los Angeles Kings, they added an extra outline on their logo, and they made that the new primary mark for this season. So, and just bear with me for another moment, you guys. I'm sorry for the delay, but so what they've done is they've made this logo with the additional silver outline right here their new primary logo. And I think it was the right decision because they had trouble applying it to different backgrounds where the black outline would bleed into the black jersey on their home jersey, and then the away jersey logo with the black outline, well, it would have the black outline on the away uniform, but it wouldn't have it on the home uniform. So now when they update this will match for both uniforms. And personally, I think this version of their crest is the best of them all in terms of this logo that they've had, that they've brought out since the 08-09 season when their current home jersey was at the time their third jersey, So they are at the bare minimum updating their home and away crests, but personally, I don't think we'll see the Kings change anything besides that, but you never know. I mean, I agree with people. It would be nice if the Kings' home jersey had a proper hem stripe like their away jersey does, but as far as I'm concerned, they should just go back to the Gretzky-era throwbacks full-time. Those are the best black, white, silver Kings uniforms that have ever been on NHL ice, and they are really good and much better than what they've been wearing for the past close to a decade now. Now, as for the Wild, for this season, they were trying to launch a new black alternate uniform, but that never happened. And their TV testing with the uniform was so piss poor, the National Hockey League rejected it. I mean, when the National Hockey League approves the Philadelphia Flyers 2017 Stadium Series uniform with black numbers on a black jersey and they don't approve your uniform that's supposed to be black, in my opinion, the Wild did something that was probably going to be downright atrocious. So thankfully, Minnesota did not bring it out. If it can't pass TV testing, it was probably a train wreck. You know, I actually thought it would have been cool to see Minnesota finally do something new and totally out there, because I'm sorry to be saying this to you Wild fans out there, but besides your away jersey that you guys have thankfully had for a number of years now, I've never been a fan of the Minnesota Wild's identity. I've never seen any of their jerseys that I thoroughly like. Their away jersey and their Stadium Series jerseys are the only two jerseys in their history that I've ever thought were reasonably decent. I haven't been a fan of any of the other ones. And also, there is a little bit of a of an NHL hockey history with black as either a primary color. Well, it's called the color, but I know it's a shade, or as an accent. So because of the North Stars. So I was kind of thinking, if the Minnesota Wild did a black third jersey that was a bit of an homage to the North Stars, that might have been really good. But unfortunately, they screwed up their TV testing. And if it can't pass TV testing, I think it's probably a good thing. But the Wild doing black, it's just another case of black for black's sake as far as I'm concerned. So truth is, with the Wild, because I really have not been impressed with their identity as an NHL franchise in terms of uniforms. I thought maybe a black jersey would be really cool to see them do something different for a change. I still think it would be interesting, but you know what? It's probably for the best that it got scrapped. Now, speaking of uniforms for the Wild, they are hosting the St. Louis Blues in next season's Winter Classic. So we will see an outdoor jersey for that. Hopefully it's a North Stars throwback. I hope it's not some faux back that plays it safe. I really do hope it's Kelly Green and it's a Minnesota North Stars throwback. I think that would be exceptional if that was what they wore while the Blues brought back their 67 white throwback uniforms, or their white jerseys from maybe not exactly the 67 ones, but I think they had a slight alteration to their uniforms after their inaugural season that was a lot better. I think that was the 68-69 season until the mid-70s. I'd have to check that, actually. And you know what? Speaking of that, why don't I do that now so that here, it's just a quick click away. So yeah, no, the second version of their white uniform, or their second white uniform in franchise history that they started wearing in the 68-69 season, I think either they'll bring that back or they will slightly alter. They'll bring out a white flip of their 67 throwback and make it a little bit more of a faux back by having the waist striping folding match the blue one that they now wear as a third jersey. But whatever the Blues do, I'm thinking it is a 60s throwback white sweater. And if it was that against the North Stars throwbacks, or a North Stars jersey of some sort, that would be marvelous. But I would not be surprised if Minnesota decides to play it safe, which is unfortunate, but I do think it's nice that Minnesota is hosting a Winter Classic. I mean, I think that city definitely deserves that opportunity. So, but I agree with everybody who says they need to do a North Stars throwback. That would be so damn cool. If the Hurricanes can do the Whalers throwback, I think the Minnesota Wild should definitely do the North Stars throwback. But with the Dallas Stars actually being the Minnesota North Stars, I can appreciate the Minnesota Wild not doing a North Stars throwback. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm hoping that the Wild and the Dallas Stars will be able to work things out. And I would prefer if the Wild wore North Stars throwbacks, but if they don't, I can appreciate why. And if for anybody who says, oh, well, what about the Jets? The new Jets wearing the old Jets throwbacks. The outdoor throwback uniforms they've worn for the two Heritage Classic games that they've played in are both WHA era uniforms. So maybe because those uniforms are from when the Jets were in a different league before they joined the NHL, and then over time relocated to where they are now in Arizona. I think that's why they've been more able to get away with that, but I don't know. I'm not fully sure on how that works, but it is interesting nonetheless. But I am hoping the Wild do get to wear North Stars throwbacks. I think that would be the best case scenario, but if they don't, I respect the NHL and the Wild and the Stars for going in a different throwback direction, or if the Wild paid homage to a different hockey team in the hockey history of Minnesota. Now, moving on to Montreal. Now, something interesting here. I will talk about this when I discuss the fourth jersey program in a coming video, whether it's my next video or the video after that. But with the Montreal Canadiens, Jeff Molson, who I believe I know that at the bare minimum, he's got to be one of their owners, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But he did say that the Montreal Canadiens have been discussing a potential new idea of some sort for a while now. So with this fourth jersey program coming in next season, the word is that Montreal will be doing a blue inverted jersey, a perfect flip of their home jersey. And I'll talk more about it in the fourth jersey program video that I'm planning on doing. But my initial thoughts on that is that it's a no-no. I don't think Montreal should be wearing a blue version of their home jersey, but I'll talk more about that when I get around to it. But do I think it's an interesting idea? Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't think Montreal wearing blue, as far as I'm concerned, is right, unless it's something like the throwback uniform that they wore as part of their 100th anniversary celebrations 11 years ago in 2009. But anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Nashville, and then let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll talk about Nashville and New Jersey, and then I will wrap up this video and do a part 3 to try and cover the rest. But with Nashville, I'm hoping they do bring back their 2020 Winter Classic uniform, although I do hope they will tweak it so that the P on the Predators part of the word mark doesn't touch that bottom navy blue stripe. I do agree with people. That is something that is something that Adidas should not have done. I do agree with that, but that uniform was quite good and I really respect Nashville for paying homage to Nashville's hockey history. I certainly would not have guessed for a second that they had hockey history dating back to the early 1960s. I was thinking the oldest hockey history that city would have ever had, and that in the state of Tennessee would have ever had, was maybe the 1980s. But the 1960s, that blew me away, and I felt that Nashville Dixie Flyers inspired Winter Classic uniform was well done. Not my favorite uniform in the world in terms of Winter Classic uniforms, but I still think Nashville did a very good job with what they had, and it was great seeing Nashville get a chance to be in an outdoor game anyway. Seeing two Southern NHL teams get to participate in an outdoor game in Dallas, I thought that was actually a really cool change of pace and a breath of fresh air. I mean, it was nice not seeing some of the same teams like Chicago, Pittsburgh, Boston participating in the Winter Classic for a change. And I do think that Nashville might bring that uniform back next season if there is a fourth jersey program coming in. But I'm actually going to predict that Nashville brings out a new third jersey next season because their current uniforms, I agree with everybody, they're ultra boring, they're ultra plain, and they suck. You know what? Nashville needs to go back to the drawing board, and at least if they brought in a new third jersey, it would be a step in the right direction, and I think most people would probably, maybe not, but probably would agree with me there. But I think we can all agree on one thing. But this is the best jersey, in my opinion, that Nashville has ever had. And it really bothered me when they decided not to switch to this full time. They even made a matching white version of this jersey, but it was ultimately just a prototype jersey, sadly. So with the Adidas era, the trend has kind of been bringing, for the most part, bringing back a lot of the Reebok era third jerseys. And with how popular this jersey is, and even to this day, These jerseys sell for quite a bit of money on the internet now. They're very coveted and very popular. So I could actually see Adidas want to cash in on that and bring this design back next year. And as far as I'm concerned, so they should. What a great uniform. It was a thing of beauty. And the fact that they're wearing what they're wearing now instead of that, I think is an absolute joke. But anyway, I'm predicting Nashville will at least get a new third jersey, and probably I'm hoping that with this new fourth jersey program that they do at least bring back the Winter Classic uniform for at least 2 or 3 games for next season. I think that would be really cool. Now, finally, to wrap up the second part of this series, the New Jersey Devils. So they have brought this 80s era throwback uniform out as a heritage uniform last season and for this season as well, which I think it is so great that they brought this uniform back. It looks absolutely terrific. But according to Aesthetics, we have now learned that supposedly the rumor is that the Devils are actually going to do a jersey that is an inverted version of their throwbacks, and it will be green. Personally, although I would have guessed that it was going to be a black jersey, which has been something that I guess that I'm sure a lot of people have wanted to see the Devils do. Personally, not only am I blown away if this ends up being a green inverted jersey that's in a flip of their throwback uniforms, but you know what? I actually am not against the Devils doing that. But here's my problem with New Jersey. Their home and away uniforms look like they belong at the beginning of the Reebok Edge era alongside all these other teams like Edmonton and Philadelphia that royally crapped the bed and defecated all over any sense of having a decent design of your uniforms. And the Devils completely ruined their primary jerseys with the switch over to Adidas. And what annoys me as well is that I feel that not enough people are complaining about that because, in my opinion, the Devils' last uniforms they retired at the end of the Reebok era are some of the nicest uniforms in hockey. They were classics. They were beautifully done. Now, I love this white 80s throwback, and I'm so happy New Jersey brought it back. But instead of bringing out a new green inverted version of this and the red throwback they wore for years during the Reebok era, they need to go back, take their home and away jerseys, and go back to the ones they had before Adidas. And it pisses me off. I mean, am I against the Devils doing a green inverted jersey, essentially what'll be a flip of their throwbacks? I'm not against it at all. And personally, I think having an additional green uniform in the NHL of some sort is great. That's a color that I feel doesn't get enough use by sports teams. So I think it's going to look really good when it's done and when it comes out. But I think the Devils should focus on going back to their 3-time Stanley Cup winning uniforms that they retired because of they had a chance to bring out some new uniforms with the Adidas transition from Reebok, which I think is total crap. So sorry for the rant, but do I think that a green inverted jersey that's based off of their throwback uniforms is going to look good? I think it'll be fine. In fact, I'm all for that idea, and I'm actually really shocked that the Devils decided to do a green jersey if this rumor is true, which I think it is, and I'm sure it will be, but instead of a black one. But I still think the Devils need to address the main elephant in the room, and that is their home and away jerseys, because I still think it is an absolute joke that the Devils ruined 2 of the nicest uniforms in the NHL as far as I'm concerned. So, I think a green inverted version of their probably what'll be a green flip of the red throwback jersey rather than the white one you see here. I'm all for it. I think it's going to look really good. And as I just said, I have no problem with another NHL team adding a green jersey. That is a color that I've really been enjoying seeing come back on a bit of a resurgence in recent years, which is great. And, but I still think the Devils need to fix the main problem, which is their main home and away jerseys. I'm sorry, they suck, and it really has disappointed me, I'm not going to lie, that the Devils don't get more flack for ruining their home and away jerseys. And I think they deserve to take some more flack, and I think they need to redesign those and go back to the pre-Adidas uniforms. Those were great. Their new ones are garbage as far as I'm concerned. Now, anyways, guys, for the purpose of time, I'm going to wrap this video up. It's sorry for keeping it at 40 minutes in length, but I will be back with part 3 to try and hopefully finish up covering the rest of the NHL. And then part 4 will be the 4th jersey program. I really do want to touch base on that as well. But I hope you have enjoyed this video if you've stuck around from start to finish. If you haven't, I totally understand. And until my next video, as always, you guys, take care. And as always, folks, bye for now.